about to tell you something you don't want to hear. There is a challenging evolution for mothers when a child goes from 2-year-old to a 22-year-old, where you have a lot of impact, a lot of influence, and to a degree, a sense of control when they're 2 years old. And so it's really vital that as they transition into adulthood, that you start thinking of yourself as an influencer more than a mother. I don't want you to feel powerless any more than, say, Jesus does in how much he can control other people's behavior. Keep in mind that one of the most important life accomplishments for a young man between ages, say 16 or 17 and 21 or marriage, is to prove that they don't need a mother. Imagine being a young man who's always been a boy and has always been someone his mother takes care of, and his psychological cravings start to revolve around the idea of, I would like to be the man of a house that a woman can rely on. So they're doing everything they possibly can to not interact with you as a mother, but you can interact with them if you let your identity shift a little bit, it's a little bit weird, where you become a woman and he is a man. When a girl is clueless about a boy's sport, say football or basketball, and she goes up to him and says, "How do you throw that football so far?" Now, she's asking the question because she sincerely is curious, okay, and fascinated. Now, what does that do for a young man? I know it's embarrassingly silly when you look at how much guys that age like to brag about themselves and their own awesomeness, but this is a pretty vital part of our development. Usually we're not younger than 40 to 50 years old when we discover for the first time it was pretty arrogant to think we could take on a wife at age 22. I am fully capable, so we need a excessive amount of confidence to get us through our 20s when we discover we're actually clueless as husbands, let alone fathers, let alone providers. When a young man explains how he's gotten good at something, it makes him better at it. So when you ask him, what have you learned? Make it very clear that you're not asking like a mother of a 16-year-old, what did you learn so that I can correct you? No, you ask the question, what are you learning? Because I have no clue how to succeed in what you're working on. I have never been a young adult male fighting to have control of my sexual energy. Please become a student of your son's development and ask him how he's going to succeed. Now, don't point it out to him if you can tell he's making it up on the spot. There's a rumor that girls are often verbal processors. Women kind of figure things out as they talk about them. Well, when it comes to this kind of thing, men are often verbal processors. They formulate their plan as they're talking, and so it's really helpful for them to explain their plan. If you feel like their plan is missing something, ask with a fascinated tone, not a critical tone. What about reading scriptures? I heard that matters. Is that necessary for you to win? Now he might blow some smoke and say, oh no, I'm too manly for that. I don't need that. One of the easiest things is don't ask him to be accountable to you. That'll save you a ton of energy also. He doesn't need to tell you about his lost battles. He doesn't need to tell you any of that stuff. He's striving to turn God into his accountability partner, not his mother. It's not your responsibility when they become that age to make sure they are winning their battles. We're striving to create a spiritual environment where they can receive personal revelation and personal direction as they go through their successes and their failures. As President Nielsen is trying to make it very clear by teaching the pattern for growth system that we call the DPAR, it's more important that they cycle through their own reflection without your judgment or opinion on it, of whether or not they got it right. Well, you didn't reflect correctly, so let me help you do that more correctly. No. Don't do that. Then as they do some discovery work, you can be fascinated. You can ask questions like, how do you do discovery work? How does that process work? And if he's all like, I don't know, you've planted a seed of curiosity for him that maybe he'll start thinking about with the help of the Holy Ghost. Remember, don't use a mother tone, which takes practice. Use a curiosity tone. One of our favorite teaching experiences comes from a young man who is now almost done with his master's degree in becoming a mental health therapist, and he's already running Sons of Helaman groups. But I was his trainer 10 years ago in Sons of Helaman, and it took him 3 years to graduate. They lived about 30 minutes from my office, and the dad would pick him up regularly, and his dad was sincerely interested in what he was learning. So his dad said, what did you learn today? He didn't say, what did you learn today, to check in with him and make him be accountable. He says, what did you learn today? I'm fascinated. His son was not really a translate your thinking and feeling into words kind of guy, but he would just keep trying to explain it, which really empowered him to be more successful. And now he's a returned missionary who has a wife and 2 children. He's going to do our first week-long camp. He was a Boy Scout camp director and leader for like 4 years in his teenage years, and I don't like camps. I don't like mosquitoes and living in tents and eating out of pans off the fire for a week, but some people really like that. So he's putting together some camps, and you can send your boy away for 5 days and think about more enjoyable things, while a group of younger and more experienced men do a really good job of teaching them further light and knowledge. I love it when a parent is a partner as opposed to an accountability person. Now, here's the best way to do that. Get familiar with the man power calendar or the girl power calendar. Slap your calendar right up next to your son's. And if you want to be an accountability partner, you're accountable to him and he's accountable to you. It's the two people who go to the gym together and they're accountable to each other for achieving their goals at the gym. It's not like your personal trainer who you're accountable to them, they're not accountable to you. Now remember, if you've got a junior high kid going with a college brother to the gym, they're not going to have the same expectations of what they're designed to accomplish, but they want them to be equally challenging. So mom, make sure your 6 squares are just as hard for you as his 6 squares are hard for him. And I'll predict something for you. You're going to discover what it feels like to be tempted in ways you've never been before. Look at your self-mastery issue that's been the hardest for you to conquer for the last 5 years. Is it getting to the gym, cold shouldering a husband when it's not necessary, not doing your reading, something basic? Pick the hardest thing that you've dealt with for the last 5 years and have that be your N square, your no square. My favorite is with dads and sons. Moms can join if they want to, but my favorite is dads and sons. And they get this masculine approach to it where they actually try to ruin each other's success. Like we got sons hiding their dad's scriptures from them so he can't do his reading, or dad walks in on his son while he's trying to do his prayers and bangs pots and pans together while his son's trying to pray. Okay, and mothers are all, that is so rude, why would you do that? And it's a boy thing. For some reason, we're more motivated when someone's trying to stop us. But I recommend you have one type of prize for the winner, whoever gets the most squares that week. My favorite one is when they have to do one of the other person's chores. Now, if they both have a perfect week or they tie, then they both get to go out for ice cream and pizza. Now, you moms can do whatever you want to do. Well, if I win, you have to hold hands with me walking through the mall and make sure everyone knows that you love me for a half hour. No, mom, that would kill me. I would die. Well, then you better win. Well, if I win, you have to buy pizza for 5 of my friends while we watch stupid movies, like Dumb and Dumber, and you're like, a different movie, just pick a different movie and I'll buy the pizza for sure. Have reward systems for it if you're gonna have an accountability partner.